Hello travelers, this is the Water Triad reading for January 2024. It's for the water signs of Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, all sun signs. So please check back to your moon and rising sign when it's posted. This is a general reading, so if you want to purchase a private reading to look more into your situation, you can go to the About box section of my channel, and there I have listed my pricing packages, the minutes, the number of questions, and the amount of the reading. And then you will email me at this address, hiddennoticetarot@gmail.com. Email me and say, for instance, hey Tara, I want a 30-minute reading, and I will respond back to you. My turnaround time is usually 48 to 72 hours. I don't like to make people wait. And that's that. So I have with me today the Radiant White deck, the Levita Sibila, and we're going to wrap the reading up with angel answer cards. So let me turn the camera around. I have done some meditation and shuffling on the water glyph, and we will see what the cards have to say. Hopefully this will... There, that's better. I will give one more shuffle and one more rifle on the cards. Oh, that card just flew out. That is Mercury. Mercury. I still have problems saying my R's. And we know that Mercury has just come out of retrograde the 1st of January, but it still takes about a week or two for things to get up to speed. So let me put another rifle on these cards. I don't want to shuffle too many cards because I don't know why. Okay, so 9-card spread for the signs of Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces sun. So there we have the Knight of Swords, followed by the 10 of Swords. The next card is the Fool. That's weird, but okay. The next row, the Hanged Man, followed by the Empress, and the Queen of Swords. This is a weird spread. Let me lay the rest of it out and maybe I can figure out what's going on. The Ace of Swords, the High Priestess, and finally the King of Cups. So there is our water sign. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4 major arcana. So there is a spiritual lesson in this. That's what the major arcana represent. And then you have the pip cards, like the numbered cards, that on a mundane level. So let me start over. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 major arcana. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 swords and a cup. I have 1, 2, 3 court cards. And this is weird with the Empress and the High Priestess. As you can see, that's a 2 and that's a 3. Normally they follow each other like this in the sequence. The Emperor and then the Hierophant but one is above the other. So what is the overall energy of the entire reading? It is the Five of Swords. Of Wands. Let me just start talking, and maybe the story will come out. I will sink down into the cards and I will come up with the story. Right in the center, we have the Empress. And she represents the planet Venus. She is not all about love and beauty, but she is about someone who is confident in what she wants. She can be overprotective sometimes. She is pregnant in the card, so it can speak to motherhood or about to becoming a mother. Sometimes she represents negotiations in terms of business, because in order to get someone to come along with us and participate in what we are doing, we have to make it attractive to them. So that's where the Empress deals with negotiations. Excuse me. But she is also about right relationships. Are you being treated fairly? Are you being treated with respect? Are you being treated fairly? I think I said that. So, right relationships, any kind of relationship. She's trying to tell me something else, but I can't hear it right now. So that's what's in the center of the spread. The cards are read past, present, future, and the interplay of the cards. Now, over the whole reading, I have the Five of Wands. And this card can stand for, it's a 5, so it speaks to a time of ups and downs, a changing energy. And it can be about fighting over children, fighting about children, fighting around children. It can be everybody trying to get their 2 cents worth in, fighting amongst each other. But the card says that do not be afraid to get to the truth of the matter. You have to ask the hard questions. And sometimes the card can stand for somebody playing games with you, but mostly it's head games, like saying one thing and doing another. That's the overall energy. It's a changing energy. It's a Wands card, so this tells me that there is a lot of passion and energy and determination and focus about whatever the dispute is. And keep in mind that fear and anger are passionate emotions. Okay? So, starting at the top, we have the Knight of Swords. Now, anybody who has been with me for a long time knows that Knights only represent messages. A page represents a message too, but this Knight of Swords represents a more fully fledged message. And he comes galloping in from the future to the past. So this may be some news. Usually Knights show up to precipitate an event. A message arrives and something happens, which is true because I have the Ace of Swords here. So something is about to change. It's followed by the Ten of Swords. The 10 is a focus on completion of events. It's the final card in a series. It moves to the Ace of Wands, the Ace of Swords next. But this card represents perhaps hurt feelings. Somebody said something that where you feel like they stab you in the back. It can be an ambush situation, particularly with this Knight of Swords. And you know that swords represent thoughts, beliefs, perceptions, ideas, and communication. So maybe this was a conversation that you had with somebody. But it's the end of, it tells you that the crisis point has been reached and things will now change into something else. Sometimes I have seen this card where people have been experiencing from tension, the knives in the back, they have hip pain, lower back pain, neck pain, a headache. But this is also the darkest before the dawn. And it can imply that you may be moving around water, near water, over water, by water. There is some kind of movement in this. I would say that this is true because of the horse. Horses imply movement. Now, the Fool card is about embracing something that's new, going on an adventure, going on a trip. So those three cards can imply that a trip will be made or has been made. And the Fool card is about embracing the newness of what the universe has to offer. So this could be anything. It could be travel, it could be new people, it could be a new way of life. But the odd thing is, he represents the planet Uranus, which is unexpected, is the ruler of unexpected things. I didn't say that right. In other words, he brings change, shock, and rebellion. The Uranus does. But it follows that the Hangman. So in all this movement, there is a stop here. And the Hangman says that when you most want to act, this is when you should wait. When you most want to do something, you should not. And when you most want someone to come along with you, you should hold back. I think that's all the same thing, but I didn't quite say it right. I'll read it to you out of the book. This is the Hangman, and he represents Neptune. So perhaps there is some slight confusion going on. That's what Neptune is, a big ball of gas. And when the fog rolls in, matter of fact, he just turned direct after, I forget when he went into Pisces. I think it was 2016. And this could be, sometimes the card speaks funny. This could be Neptune going direct. And in which case, I wrote about it in my last Substack. So if you felt kind of floaty and out of body, kind of confused, all kind of wonky, this is when you should get a hold of yourself. Here with this Earth card, ground your body. You may hug a tree or go out into nature, spend time outside. But the thing about the Hangman is nobody placed him in this state of suspension but himself. He's trying to see things from a better and higher perspective. Sometimes, like the 10, this card can indicate someone who is suffering from foot, ankle, knee, lower back, and headaches, vertigo. Maybe you are having some kind of physical ailments and you can't identify where they're coming from. We skip over to the Queen of Swords. Now, this is an air sign, and although this reading is for water signs, depending on if you are male or female, or you take the male or female role, the Queen of Swords is simply someone who uses keen intellect and sharp words. Normally, she is known as the divorcee queen. They say that she's mean and bitter. I don't always buy that, because you don't always have to be mean and bitter. I think what they mean by that is she has had some hard lessons in life, and so she looks directly at the problem. She doesn't mince her words. She doesn't sugarcoat it. Okay? As a profession, she can be a counselor, a lawyer, a judge, a mediator, a writer, an editor, a scientist. She can even be a soldier. Anywhere where sharp tools and keen intellect is needed to get the job done. Incidentally, she also represents Venus. So we have Venus here twice. She is also about, from the stance of the card, she is inviting the truth, and if it's not real or true for her, she will cut your head off. Followed by, now this is interesting. I have these 3 swords cards, and he is the Knight of Swords, is holding the ace for all intents and purposes. She is holding the Ace of Swords. And then finally, we come to the Ace of Swords itself. And the Ace of Swords, of all the aces in the deck, this is the most powerful ace. And when it appears, it says that something will change. It is inevitable. This card brings about changes. Now, in the olden days, the ring around the sword kind of meant like an engagement or a marriage, which goes back to right relationships. But the Ace of Swords is also the excessive degree of everything. You can be very worried. You can be highly upset. There are sharp words. Obviously, there are lots of communications and lots of words going back and forth in this situation. And then we come to the Empress. She is a 2. And 2s always talk about choices and options, dualities, decisions, hard decisions. And when this card appears, pretty much is telling you this is the inner representation of the Empress. This card, this is a more outward facing energy, and this is a more inner. So it's telling you to get in touch with your intuition, to trust what your intuition is telling you. Perhaps you need to meditate. This card speaks about someone who knows a lot, maybe sees a lot, but doesn't say a lot. Okay? She is the keeper of the knowledge. So it can sometimes represent secrets or say that the answer is unknown at the moment. And here we have the King of Cups. He can be a Cancer, a Scorpio, or a Pisces. As a profession, he is also a counselor, like a lawyer, or someone who has to do with the law. He can be very emotional. He can be very kind, but he can also be very emotionally manipulative. It depends. And so I can't look at the 3 people cards to get any more information out of the spread. So I'm going to turn these over because in effect they represent people. So what does that leave me? It leaves me the Ace of Swords and the 10 of Swords as they relate to these 4 major arcana. The 10 of Swords next to the Fool. Does it say anything about it? No. But it tells you to take the utmost caution when undertaking any new venture at this time, particularly if you're dealing with people who you do not know well or at all. This can lead to feelings of distrust and suspicion, whereby these feelings may be warranted within you. So look closely at all avenues and from all angles, and only proceed if you feel it is the right thing for you to do. It tells of traveling either over water or by water. You can be feeling depressed. It can be depicting an ambush-like situation and tells of unexpected negative occurrences. It may be implying that a legal issue is looming large. And then I can only go to the Ace of Swords. And it tells me nothing. It says to make long-term plans at this time as they will come to fruition. It also can speak to a feeling of sadness, depression, anxiety, and wasted efforts. It carries with it the expectations that things will not work out as planned. It tells you to shrug off pessimism and put the past behind you. It implies that there can be a sense of fulfillment after a wise choice or decision has been made, or there has been a favorable outcome to a problem or dispute. I think the one that I'm picking up is it implies that there is a focus on a critical and potentially volatile situation or circumstance. You may find yourself in a position of having to take action or make a decision under stressful circumstances. So it is important that you keep your emotions balanced in order to make the correct decision. And this is what she's telling you. Remain balanced and focused, because you're going to have to make some kind of decision. Now, I want to read a little bit but I was saying that the Fool tells you that you will have to think carefully before making a final choice or decision. That past mistakes must be looked into as lessons have been learned through the experience. And it also indicates a crossroads. It tells you to look into your mistakes of the past, as many lessons have been learned, and you are urged not to make the same mistakes again. I can't look at anything else besides these cards. So the High Priestess listen to your subconscious. And it suggests that it would be wise to keep your ideas and plans and intentions to yourself at this time, as you are to have complete faith in your own abilities rather than taking on the advice and opinion of others. Because it's a 2, this deals with choice. It may be implying that there are 2 separate situations to consider that will require a firm decision. You have 2 options. Now, most of the time, we think there's only 2 options that we have in a situation, but sometimes there is a third option. Perhaps you haven't come up with it yet, but there can be a third option. And so these 2 cards are the only things that I can look at next to these. But I want to look at the Ace of Swords because it's in a pivotal position, a very important position. It is the last card down in the past column and the first card in the future row. So I don't know what the argument is about, or if someone is playing head games with you. It kind of feels like someone's mom is involved. And if this is you as a Queen of Swords, you are being asked to think and prepare carefully. And remember, you don't have to necessarily do anything right now. You can simply wait. Like the 2 cards said. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to read to you about the Hangman. The most important thing that I think I should read to you is the best approach to a problem is not always the most obvious. When we most want to force our will on someone, that is when we should release. When we most want to have our way, that is when we should sacrifice. And when we most want to act, this is when we should wait. The irony is that by making these contradictory moves, we find what we are looking for. It also tells you to be prepared for big changes within the home and family life and or career sector. That you should rest before any activity. Maybe now is not the right time to move or change, as doing so may bring more obstacles or frustrations. Patience is called for, as you may have to wait until the timing is more auspicious and for things to change externally before you proceed and succeed. That I still want to look at this card, and I'm curious about this person, who he is and what is he doing. He is the outgoing energy of the card, but as I was saying, the Ace of Swords is the last card down on the past column and the first card out on the future row. So the most important man in your life, this is the Gran Signore. He again is the King of Cups. He is someone who everybody knows him. He's very well liked in the community. It says that this is a man you can trust and support, who will support you. But then we have the Yardro. I can't think you can see the spelling. That implies theft of some kind. Typically, it is associated with money or possessions, but people can steal your faith, your trust, your love, your belief. So, it doesn't have to be material things. And this odd letterato, that's a man of letters. And usually he has to do with, he is a juror or a lawyer, an advocate of some kind. So, what do I need to know about him? This pretty much tells me that this is a guy. But what is he stealing from you? I think you know La Superbia. This is usually someone who is really good looking, very vain, likes pretty things, or likes to live life, the high life. The Bambino, something new, or a new situation or circumstance. And the Prigione. Now, this is kind of funny because sometimes these two cards together can say it is somebody who has there is a child involved. Remember? I said that. Fighting over children. There is a child involved. But what happens with these two cards are together, the man feels as though the baby is not his, so it could relate to a stepchild or stepchildren. And there is usually a lot of conflict over the child or around the child. But separately, a new situation where someone can't move. They don't have the willpower to move. Even though there is a window of opportunity, there are 3 steps to lead out to, which usually imply that there are 3 steps that can be taken. There is a banister for support and a vase for any wisdom. But usually this means that the person is depressed and feels like he can't get out of a situation. I don't know what this reading is about, and I apologize for not being able to give you more clear messages, but I think this situation is true for somebody. So let's do the angel answer cards. Formulate a question for the angel answer, and perhaps we get an answer about this reading. This is so strange. They are 3 women involved. A year from now. That's what it says. The event you are asking about will occur within this year or soon after. During this interval, you are encouraged to try to stay optimistic, to continue with self-care activities and other preparations for your desire. Remember that other people's free will choices are involved. Your angels are presently working behind the scenes on your behalf, even if you can't immediately see the evidence of your answered prayers. I hope this means something to someone out there. And so that's what I have for the water signs. Like I said, if the story doesn't resonate with you, go back and look at your moon and rising sign element. And I'll see you next week.